At 7:12 on a Wednesday morning, your laptop shows two salaries side by side. $80,000 yesterday, $100,000 today. $20,000 more. You should feel freer. 14 months later, an email arrives about a job you actually want. Better work, better hours, less Sunday night dread. It pays $85,000. You read the number twice, then close the message. You cannot afford to leave. There was no financial disaster, no missed payment, no secret shopping spree. The raise worked exactly as promised. Your pay went up. But somewhere between the celebration and that email, the price of walking away rose to $18,750. How can a $20,000 raise create almost a $19,000 exit price? And if you stay for 3 more years, will the raise make you wealthier or simply harder to move? Start with the part that feels obvious. In this example, moving from $80,000 to $100,000 does not put an extra $20,000 into your checking account. After taxes, payroll deductions, and benefit choices, your monthly take-home rises from roughly $5,000 to $6,050. The exact number would be different for every household. Here, the usable increase is $1,050 a month. That is real money. It can build savings, reduce debt, or buy time. The raise itself is not the trap. The trap begins when a temporary change in income quietly becomes a permanent change in the amount your life requires. During the first month, almost nothing changes. You move $600 into savings, you replace a broken chair, you take a friend to dinner. The larger balance feels like proof that the pressure has finally ended. By month 3, the old apartment starts to feel smaller. The commute feels longer. The car repair you postponed feels less reasonable. None of these thoughts are foolish. More income is supposed to improve life. So the rent rises by $300 when you move closer to work. A newer car adds $260 a month. A few services that save time add $90. Food delivery and other convenience spending settle about $240 above the old baseline. You also increase automatic investing by $160. Together, those changes absorb the entire $1,050 monthly increase. Some of that is consumption, some of it is useful. The extra investing is building an asset, not disappearing. The closer apartment returns hours, the car may be more reliable. The point is not that every upgrade was a mistake. The point is that 5 separate choices were evaluated, one at a time, while the exit was never priced at all. The rent seemed affordable against the $100,000 salary. So did the car. So did the services. Each decision passed its own test. Together, they created a new minimum income. That is the first reveal. A raise changes more than what you can buy. It changes what your future self must continue funding. But the monthly baseline is only the visible part of the chain. Your paycheck is not your full compensation. In March 2026, the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated that private industry employers spent an average of $32.60 per worker hour on wages and another $14.01 on benefits. Those benefits include paid leave, insurance, retirement contributions, and legally required programs. The average does not describe every job, but it exposes an important fact. A large part of what work pays you may never appear as spendable cash. That matters the moment you consider leaving. Health coverage that felt almost invisible while employed becomes a visible invoice. Under federal COBRA rules, many workers who leave a covered job can temporarily continue the same group health plan, but may have to pay the full premium plus an administrative amount. A benefit that looked like one payroll deduction can suddenly reveal the employer share you never saw. Retirement contributions may have their own clock. Your own contributions belong to you, but some employer contributions can vest over time. A retention award may arrive only if you remain through a certain date. Paid time off may not transfer to the next job in the same form. None of this means you should stay. It means the salary printed on an offer is not enough to compare two jobs honestly. The system developed this way because employers compete with bundles, not just cash. Over decades, tax rules and workplace benefit systems made compensation through health coverage and retirement plans especially valuable. For millions of workers, the job became both a source of income and a private support system. That bundle can be generous. It can also make movement expensive. Notice what your brain does with the bundle. Salary feels like income. Health insurance feels like background. A vesting date feels like future money. Paid leave feels like time rather than compensation. Because each part lives in a different mental category, the cost of leaving stays invisible until you try to leave. The raise intensifies that effect. The larger salary receives all the emotional credit. The benefits remain quiet. New expenses attach themselves to the salary. Delayed rewards attach themselves to the calendar. Soon the job is supporting three different things at once: today's lifestyle, tomorrow's benefits, and a future payment you lose if you walk away early. This is not a conspiracy. An employer does not need to design a trap for one to form. A raise, a benefit package, and ordinary adaptation can produce the same result without anyone planning it. The behavioral part is simple. You feel changes more strongly than levels. The first month with an extra $1,050 feels dramatic. By month 6, it feels normal. The better apartment becomes home. The easier commute becomes the expected commute. The newer car stops feeling new. The raise disappears emotionally because your reference point moved. Your obligations do not adapt downward as quickly. This asymmetry is the second reveal. Pleasure normalizes. Contracts remain. Now return to the email offering $85,000. The role is not irresponsible. It may offer a better manager, better work, or a path you care about. But the new salary produces an estimated $5,200 in monthly take-home, about $850 less than your current job. If you accept it, the old lifestyle does not automatically shrink on your first day. Rent is still due. The car payment still clears. The benefit plan changes on its own timetable. The automatic transfers keep running until you change them. The question is no longer whether $85,000 is a good salary. The question is whether your current life can survive the transition. This is where a raise becomes a pair of golden handcuffs. Not because high pay is bad, and not because a lower-paying job is morally better. The handcuff is the gap between the income you have and the income your options require. At the end of year 1, the gap is uncomfortable but reversible. You could reduce convenience spending, change automatic transfers, or sell the car. At the end of year 3, more items may be locked in. Rent may have renewed. A family may depend on the health plan. A bonus may always be 6 months away. A promotion may promise a larger award next year. Every new reason to wait can be rational. Together, they can turn waiting into a permanent strategy. Suppose you stay 3 more years. The extra gross salary over the $80,000 starting point totals $60,000. That sounds decisive. But gross income is not the same as added wealth. In this example, the additional take-home is $37,800 across those 3 years. If the full $1,050 monthly increase continues to fund the new baseline, the raise builds almost no additional liquid freedom. The $160 automatic investment still creates $5,760 of contributions before any market change. That is valuable. Yet, an investment account and an exit fund do different jobs. One is designed for the future. The other lets you act now without turning every transition into an emergency. This distinction explains why someone can be earning more, saving more, and still feel unable to move. The Federal Reserve's 2025 Household Survey found that 55% of adults had savings sufficient to cover 3 months of expenses. That means a large minority did not. The number is not a verdict on discipline. It is evidence that many households are trying to make career decisions without enough time stored in cash. Time stored in cash is what converts a preference into an option. Without it, better work must also pay at least as much, begin immediately, preserve comparable benefits, and arrive before any vesting deadline. That is a narrow doorway. With it, you can absorb a temporary pay cut, a coverage gap, a delayed first paycheck, or the time required to search carefully. Follow the raise through 2 versions of the same next 3 years. In the first version, the entire $1,050 monthly increase becomes the new baseline. By month 6, the improved life feels ordinary. By month 18, the apartment has renewed and the car is still financed. At the end of year 2, a new retention payment appears on the horizon. Leaving now means giving it up. At the end of year 3, the salary is higher on paper, but every attractive alternative must clear a complicated test. Replace the income, replace the benefits, protect the vesting payment, and support the fixed costs immediately. This version produces a strange kind of success. You can afford more things, but fewer decisions. In the second version, the raise is identical. For 6 months, you keep the old lifestyle and move the full $1,050 increase into cash. That creates $6,300 before the new salary has time to feel normal. After month 6, you allow $500 a month to improve daily life. Direct $250 to long-term investing and keep $300 flowing into the transition fund. By month 18, that transition fund holds $9,900 before interest. The original $6,300 plus 12 deposits of $300. By the end of year 3, another 24 deposits bring the total to $17,100. The raise still improved housing, time, food, or comfort by $500 a month. It still increased investing. But it also preserved the ability to move. Neither version is morally superior. Real life can interrupt both. A medical bill, family care, a rent increase, or a period of unemployment can consume the money. The comparison isolates one variable, whether freedom receives an automatic payment before the new baseline expands. This is why waiting to save whatever remains usually fails. What remains is defined by the lifestyle that income teaches you to expect. If preserving options is not treated as a current expense, it becomes a future wish. The comparison also corrects a common idea about lifestyle creep. The problem is not that every improvement is shallow or irresponsible. The real danger is asymmetric reversibility. A streaming service can be cancelled tonight. A restaurant habit can change next week. A larger apartment may require a move. A car loan may require selling an asset for less than the balance. Health coverage may depend on enrollment windows. A family schedule may be built around one employer's hours. 2 expenses with the same monthly cost can create very different amounts of lock-in. So when a raise arrives, do not ask only, "Can I afford this upgrade?" Ask, "How quickly could I reverse it?" The speed of reversal matters as much as the price. So instead of asking whether your salary is high enough, calculate one different number: your exit price. Your exit price is not the amount needed to retire. It is the amount required to change jobs without forcing a financial crisis. Begin with the temporary income gap. The new role would reduce take-home by about $850 a month. Give yourself 6 months to adjust the lifestyle or prove that the new job works. That is $5,100. Then price the benefit bridge. In this example, replacing the employer contribution to health coverage for 3 months costs an additional $650 per month. That adds $1,950. Your actual figure might come from COBRA, a spouse's plan, a marketplace plan, or the new employer's waiting period. Use the real quote, not a guess. Next, list compensation you would forfeit by leaving on this date. Here, an employer contribution and retention payment worth $4,200 will vest later. Do not automatically stay for it. Put the number on the table so the decision is honest. Finally, protect 2 months of essential expenses. If rent, food, transportation, insurance and minimum obligations total $3,750 a month, that reserve is $7,500. Add the 4 parts, $5,100 for the temporary income gap, $1,950 for the benefit bridge, $4,200 in forfeited compensation, $7,500 for the essential cost reserve. The exit price is $18,750. That is the number hiding behind the $20,000 raise. It does not mean you need exactly $18,750 before making any change. You can lower the number, delay the move instead of the career, sell the car, reduce the 6-month adjustment period, negotiate a signing bonus, time the departure after vesting, use a new employer's health plan immediately. The purpose of the number is not to create another impossible threshold. It is to show which parts of the threshold are fixed, which are temporary, and which are choices. Once the exit price is visible, you can reduce it deliberately. The most powerful moment to do that is not when you hate the job. It is when the raise arrives. Before upgrading anything, take the first 3 months of additional take-home and place it in a separate transition fund. In this example, that is $3,150. It is not an emergency fund for a broken appliance. It is money reserved for preserving your ability to say no. Then split future raises before your lifestyle absorbs them. One portion can improve life now. One portion can build long-term wealth. One portion can lower the exit price. The exact percentages matter less than making the decision before the new salary feels normal. Also compare jobs using total compensation and transition cost, not salary alone. Write down cash pay, health plan cost, employer retirement contributions, vesting dates, paid leave, commute, schedule, and any waiting period. A role paying $85,000 with cheaper coverage, fewer commuting costs, and more usable time may be economically closer to the $100,000 job than the salary gap suggests. Or it may be worse. The calculation should decide, not the headline number. There is one more psychological shift. Stop treating a lower salary as moving backward when it buys back an option you value. Income is one form of wealth. Control over your time is another. The ability to leave without panic is another. A raise that increases the first while quietly destroying the other two is incomplete progress. Now the 3-year outcome is clear. If every additional dollar becomes a larger baseline, the $20,000 raise does not automatically create freedom. In our example, it increases take-home by $37,800 over 3 years, builds $5,760 in automatic investment contributions, and still leaves an $18,750 price on the exit. But if the first months of the raise build a transition fund, if upgrades are chosen against the exit price, and if benefits are counted as real compensation, the same raise behaves differently. It can improve today without purchasing control over tomorrow. The salary tag becomes a chain only when every new dollar receives a permanent assignment. You do not need to reject raises. You do not need to live as though income can vanish at any moment. You need one honest number that protects movement before comfort expands to consume it. The goal is not to make leaving easy. The goal is to make staying a choice. What would lower your exit price the most? Fewer fixed costs, a benefit bridge, or more cash time? Share the category, not the private number. And if calm, practical explanations like this help you see money differently, subscribe to Sleep Easy Economics.